We all wanna change. We all wanna be somebody else. I wanna visit all the places nobody goes. I wanna teach all the things that nobody knows. I wanna grow wings, leave the coop, learn to fly. Bungee jump from the tallest building in Dubai. I wanna fly around town in my UFO. I wanna eat real food, not the GMOs. I wanna make...
Welcome back to Desertwood Days, and I'm your host, Kathy Plays. And I am here with award-winning songwriter, singer, producer, and engineer, Mr. Otto D'Angolo. Welcome.
Thanks for having me, Kathy. Happy to be here.
It's a pleasure. You are so amazing. And I'm sure you've heard that plenty of times in your life. But you have worked with some amazing talent that's connected to Arizona, such as CeCe Peniston, Jordan Sparks, Kenny Rogers, Billy Preston, and the late DMX, to name a few. Is there anyone that you haven't worked with that you would love to work with?
That's a difficult question because there's a lot of people I haven't worked with that I'd love to work with, both Arizona artists and others. I'm a big pop music fan, indie music fan, and I would say that I discovered a band out of LA after they broke up that I wish I'd recorded called the 88s. So if you haven't heard of the 88s, they're kind of a fun band.
You were an engineer. You have all these titles that I just listed. Which of those areas do you consider to be your baby, your area that you really hone in on?
Well, I think, the engineering is one of those things I can make a record sound great in my sleep because I've done that for 40 years. But I think that I would get very bored if I just did one thing, which is why I don't do one thing.
Right.
It's just, if I were just an engineer, it would be like I couldn't stand it. If I were just producing, if I were just performing, to be on tour in a bus like these stars do, I like that for a weekend or 2 weeks.
For a weekend or 2 weeks.
If that was really my lifestyle, I think I'd lose my mind. And it's the same thing in the studio. I like to make records, but not every day.
Sure.
It would drive me crazy.
Sure, that's just like me and my wigs. I like to wear them for a week, but then I want to switch them off again.
I've got my wigs too for some of the shows, and it's a lot of fun.
Yes, it is. You're an award-winning songwriter. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's kind of fun being a songwriter and writing. I've had an opportunity to get a lot of pieces placed in TV and film. And I co-wrote a song with a woman who's no longer in Arizona, who's moved to Nashville since. But we won an Emmy Award for a song that was placed in a project for Channel 3 called How Does It Feel?
Oh, okay.
So that was fun.
You're not a native of Arizona. Even though you have strong roots here in Arizona now. Where are you originally from?
I was born in Peoria, Illinois.
Okay.
And I came out here in 1989 to start making records, actually. And I learned that the Glendale area, where it says Peoria Avenue, Dunlap Avenue, that was all started by a family from Dunlap, Illinois, which is just outside Peoria, Illinois, which is where I was from. And I wondered why all those streets were together. And it was actually started by a farming family from Dunlap.
Never knew that, and I'm a native of Arizona.
I know, it's kind of interesting.
So, as an engineer, what is it that you do? What is your part in making music?
A lot of people ask that question about what's the difference between a producer and an engineer in the studio. And typically, the producer is responsible for everything. Everything is the producer's fault. If the song's the wrong speed, if the singer can't hit the note, if somebody plays a bad note, that's the producer's fault. But the engineer is responsible for technically making sure that all the microphones are in the right place, that the recording levels are good, that everybody performing hears well in their headsets, that there's no technical problem that we get in the producer's way. So it's more setting all the knobs and listening. These days in the studio, so many bands go into a recording studio and there's no producer, and the engineer ends up producing to help the band. So that's kind of how I think most engineers get into producing, and that's certainly the way that I started producing.
Did you get training on this, or is it something that you just started dabbling in?
Well, when I started, which was a long time ago, I bought a 4-track reel-to-reel and had it in my house. And at the time, in 1982, there was one recording school in the United States of America that offered a recording degree, call it. And it was a 5-week course in Masseyville, Ohio, at a place called the Recording Workshop. And so I went there. And after finishing the course, I finished top of my class of 80 people. Not a big class. But I had an opportunity to teach there for 6 years.
That's wonderful.
And that's really where you learn. When you're teaching with 14 instructors and 6 studios, you learn what's going on and how to explain things.
Right. We've spoken about a lot about giving back to the
Mhm.
community, being artists. How do you see, as an artist, your brand has given back to the community?
Well, I believe that, high rising tide raises all ships. And the music community in this town is very much that way,
Mm.
very supportive. I've recently launched a program called therecordingartist.com, which is a website where every week we broadcast a recording session of a band where they have 2 hours from scratch to record a song, one of their songs. The band doesn't pay for the studio time. They get the master. They don't pay for the master. They can sell it. They can do whatever they need to. It's hard for bands to finance their recording careers. So this way we're giving them all free studio time. Yeah, it's a fascinating program. Started a year ago, just over a year ago, and we've given 46 different area bands free studio time and broadcast those recording sessions. And we also edit a lot of that content into a television show for Amazon Prime. 5th episode should be up this week. And we're hoping to get 10 episodes done from this first season, and then we'll start the live recording sessions again.
Wonderful. So how does one become a part of the recording artist?
As an artist, all they have to do is go and put their name on the website and say, hey, we want to do it. And then we submit these bands to our members because it's a subscription membership website. And they tell us, yeah, we'd like to see these guys, or no, we don't really like those guys. And so we reach out and schedule all of the bands that the members would like to see.
So is there any type of criteria that you're looking at?
Well, right now, we don't do singer-songwriters, solo artists. We really want bands. But in the near future, we're going to use another version of the show with session musicians where we can just take singers and singer-songwriters.
Oh, wonderful. So where can our audience find this show?
therecordingartist.com.
The recording?
It's pretty easy.
And where can they find other information about Mr. D'Angolo?
I'm easy to find, ottod.com, or you can download my app in your app store. It's free. It's Otto D, and there you can keep track of the shows, my podcast, the guests on the podcast, and all my concerts.
Okay. Other than your recording artist podcast, is there anything else new that's you're working on that you'd like to share with us?
Well, I really love the film business, and I've been dabbling for a couple of years. I did my first feature film, which is horrible, and I can't wait to do a better one.
Were you an actor?
I'm acting in some other people's films around town, which I enjoy. But that's a lot of work. I really appreciate quality actors. I prefer to direct. And so I've written a couple screenplays, and I want to get those films made.
Wonderful. So getting your hands into some other areas
to your business.
And then you bring your music into there, so it all goes together.
I can license my music for free, so it helps.
Yes. That's awesome. Thanks for joining us today. It was such a pleasure.
Thanks for having me, Kathy.
You're welcome. And that is our show for today. Thanks for joining us.